Good morning, Flosstube friends. Welcome back to Annemiek from the Handwerk Boetiek. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you find some things that you like to see and to follow me. Please subscribe so that you know when the next video is going to be up. And if you're a subscriber, thank you for watching another episode in English with all my stitching updates. It is Monday, May 13th. It's around 11:30 a.m. It is gorgeous weather outside. You can't see it because I'm not in my regular spot in the shop, but believe me, it is beautifully sunny outside. It's not too warm. The colors outside are magnificent. The trees are so incredibly green. There are like 1,000 different shades of green out there, and I just love it. And after all the gray and rainy days we had in April and March, I feel like we're up for some sunny weather now. Anyway, you're here for the stitching, not for the weather update. I have a couple of finishes and some whips to show you and some Mania plans, which sounds a little late. I realize that since it's May 13th already, but I'll explain that later. I didn't do a regular stitching update for a while because in March and April I didn't stitch a whole lot. I didn't have much to show and I just didn't have the time and energy to stitch. So my progress was very slow and I thought I should at least have a few finishes to show and some progress on my whips before I started another video. First off is American Homes by Werkstatt für Historische Stickmuster. This is the chart. And I am very pleased to tell you that I finished this block and I finished this block. So now I only have these two left to stitch. And this is what it looks like. There we go. So I think I'll start with the block that is underneath. Now that is above the left corner one, because that block will be completely filled and is the most stitching. So I figured if I start with that one, then I have more stitching done than I need to do for the other one. The things we do to keep ourselves motivated. It is a lovely, lovely project. I am a little bit behind of my plans to stitch half a block each month. Like I said, I'll start with this one next since this is completely filled in. This is 4,800 stitches. And as you can see, this one will be much less. So once I've got this one done, this should be pretty easy. I don't know. Anyways, I'm very pleased that I've got block 10 done now. Just 2 more to go. And so it's May, April, May, June, July, August. So I'm aiming for an August finish. I'm figuring I've got my summer holidays coming up in end of July, beginning of August. So hopefully I'll have some more time to stitch then, and then I can sort of catch up. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I enjoy stitching it, and I think these plans that we make for ourselves are just what we do. At least for me, I do it to keep myself motivated, to give myself a goal, and so that I can stitch towards that. But all in all, it's not really important whether it's finished in July or in August. It doesn't really matter. Another whip that I've been working on is Evergreen by the Prairie Schooler. I will insert a photo here because I forgot to bring the chart downstairs. You would figure I've had 2.5 months to prepare for this video, that I would have everything right where it should be. Unfortunately, that was not the case. So you'll have to do with some photos that I insert of the completed project. This is another project where I stitched 1 block a month. And these are much more manageable than the American Home blocks, as you can see. It is a wonderful sampler. It is lovely to stitch. I just, I want to start another Prairie Schooler right after this one. I am stitching this one with the called for DMC. 2 strands over 2 fabric threads on a 25 count linen that is produced in Germany. It's not at Zweigert linen, it's from a different company. And I think this is my favorite linen to stitch Prairie Schoolers on. You can use 2 strands. The linen make the strands look really flat. I don't know what it is, but for me, this is like the perfect, perfect project. No, the perfect linen to stitch this project on. I'm a little absent because I see that there's a call coming in on my phone, which never happens when I take videos. So I'm like, okay, this is just not, let me just do this. There we go. That's much better. So Evergreen by the Prairie Schooler. This I have been dutifully stitching 1 block a month. I still need to do the May block. I have dedicated next weekend for the May block. And if you follow me on social media, on Instagram or Facebook, you can choose which block I'm going to stitch next. So this time you could choose the 3 upper blocks, because this is the one time where you could have 3 choices. And then it's going to be 2, and the final one is just the final one. So really a lot of fun. Evergreen, I think, is like a wonderful chart, Christmassy chart. Prairie Schooler, I wish she was still, I know she, you know, designing. I know she does the yearly Santa. We have the Santa 24 in stock, but it's not the same as these larger charts. So I'm really looking forward to doing that again with another chart. I might go for a Halloween one. I haven't decided yet which one I'm gonna stitch, but doing another one where I just do 1 block a month and where you have like a limited amount of colors to work with is very, very relaxing. So if you're looking for a project that you want to stitch that is kind of like easy on the eyes and a lot of fun, pick a Prairie Schooler and don't go for like, of course you can stitch them on like a 40 count linen, but if you stitch them on like the lower count linens, I think with 2 strands, it's just, for me, it's comfort stitching. One thing that was not comfort stitching, and that has bothered me for quite a while now, is Valentine Quaker by Primrose Cottage Stitches. Primrose Cottage. I thought this would be like an easy breezy chart to stitch, nothing too complicated. So I got started. I picked a Gloriana that was in my stash, and I got quite a ways. At least I thought I did. This is how far I am. Unfortunately, I made a mistake over here. Everything from here up should be 3 rows up. So when I came down here, I realized I didn't have enough space here. And now it's sort of in timeout. As you can see, I could leave off maybe this motif, and then everything will go down 3 rows. I don't know. I could start, if I had to rip it out, I have to rip out the whole bottom section. And as somebody pointed out, that will probably leave residue from the hand-dyed thread on the fabric. And I've already spent quite a bit of time. These are much more time-consuming than you'd think. You'd think it's like a little bitty pillow, but it takes a lot more time. So I think what I'll do is somehow I'll leave out all these little bitties over here, maybe change this a little bit so that everything can go down 3 rows, and I can still do the major motifs. And then, as another viewer said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think if I manage to get it all done, nobody will be the wiser except everybody who watches my Flosstube and follows me on social media. And we all know, you know, you gotta count and look at your chart and not think that you already know how the chart is going, because guess what? You might be wrong. So anyway, this was my frustration project. It is a lovely, lovely piece, I think. Like I said, I'm stitching it with 1 strand of Gloriana hand-dyed silk on a 40 count antique white Zweigart linen. So we'll see. Hopefully next time when I video, I'll have some more progress and you can see how I figured out how to deal with all of that. Then I gotta back up a little bit. So I did my last video, I think like a week or so before I left for Nashville Market, which was the first weekend of March. And I don't know about you, but when I travel by train and plane, I always feel like I've got a ginormous amount of time to stitch. After all, you're in the air for like 9 hours. I think it was from London Heathrow to Dallas. I was visiting some friends prior to market. And, 9 hours, give or take, it takes 2 hours maybe when they do all the, the food, the dinner and drinks and stuff. And I don't like to stitch when they're handing out food and stuff because I'm afraid that, either I will spill something, there will be turbulence, somebody next to me will spill something. So I don't stitch when they hand out food and drinks. But it still leaves like, 6 hours maybe to stitch. And I'm like, that's such a huge amount of time. And then I take the train to the airport, which is like 2.5 hours. And, my head is like, oh, I can stitch all the things. So in my, infinite wisdom, I thought it was a great idea to start 4 new projects before I left for Nashville. Now, this is what I do when I travel. I like to make a little start on the project so that I don't have to count, in the train or on the plane when everything is, going left and right, that I know that I start in the right place. So the week I left on Thursday to go to the airport, so that week I started 4 new projects. And another thing I take in mind is when I travel is that I want to stitch on something that doesn't have a gazillion colors. Now you have to realize a gazillion colors for me, 15 colors is a lot for me. I don't really enjoy that many colors, having to change the threads all the time. And especially when you're traveling, I think it's nice to have something that is more, either something you would stitch in one color or that has blocks of colors where you can just make progress with a single color. And what better thing to choose than another Prairie Schooler Santa. This is one of the Santas. It is in a book. I completely forgot the title. I forgot to bring it downstairs. I will insert a video after all this talking. But this is the partridge in a pear tree ornaments. And I stitched it again with 2 strands of DMC with the called for DMC over the 25 count linen. It is just gorgeous. It's not my stitching, it's the designing. The design is just so precious. And I did iron this one, and that's, I don't know if you can see the difference. I didn't iron Evergreen because I still have to work on it, but if you look at it together, you can probably see the difference. I don't know, again, if it is the fabric, but I've had it with another Prairie Schooler as well. Once I put iron to it, it just, I don't know, it just became more beautiful. So I cannot wait to iron my Evergreen. I'll insert a chart from which I stitched this Santa over here and see how that looks, because I think it'll look stunning. Like I said, again, it's not really my stitching, but it's more the design and the way the threads work with the fabric. I don't know if you've had that before, but every now and then when you iron something, it just feels like the stitches fall in place, everything looks neat and tight, and it's just beautiful. So another project that I started, let me look. And again, this one is not ironed. This was a sampler of the Sea by Carriage House. Samplings. This is a Nashville 2023 release, and ever since it came out, I really enjoyed it. And you have to realize what's so funny about this, because I am not a sea person. How some people will really, oh, my perfect day is going to the beach and spend a time at, a day at the beach. And I'm like, you could not, it would be, well, I wouldn't say it would be hell for me, but close. I just don't enjoy it. And it's really funny because my dad was the same. He did not enjoy a day at the sea. I don't either. I don't think my mom or brother have any preference or are that outspoken about it. So I guess I got that from my dad. And I remember that a couple years ago, I don't know, like 10 years ago, I thought I need to see if something has changed because, you know, over time your preferences can change. So I booked myself like I think it was like a long weekend at a hotel that was near the sea where I could just walk and be at the sea. And let's just say I didn't enjoy it. I was like, okay, I really know why I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy the sand between my toes. I don't enjoy the sand that you will find everywhere once you've spent a day at the beach. I'm not really much of a sunbather either, so I'd like to sit in the shade. Anyways, I'm not a beach person. But apparently I can stitch beach things. That's not a problem at all. So I stitched this on a piece of Mystery Linen by Tabby Cat Linens. It's 36 count. I used the called for DMCs, 1 strand over 2, and I think it turned out really pretty. This was the sampler where, let me show you here at the octopus, you can see it the best. This one uses DMC 900, which is like, to me, like a bright orange. Bright orange is another color I don't like using in my stitching. And I really seriously thought about changing it. And then I thought, I'll just stitch it. And then if I don't like it, I can always take it out and use another color. But I really, really liked it. So every now and then, I guess you just have to step out of your comfort zone and use a color that is not the one you would pick normally. I really, really enjoyed stitching this one. So I think I'll get in touch with Marty because she's only done a sampler of the sea as far as I know. And I would love to have a sampler of the forest, a sampler of the city or village, or there are so many other samplers she could do. I really enjoyed stitching the letter. She used a beautiful font. So I'm truly hoping that she will design some more samplers of, you know, whatever is next. Sampler of the farm, wouldn't that be fun? With a few of the farm animals and a barn maybe for the bee. Oh man, I could just, you know. Anyways, that was Sampler of the Sea. This was one of the starts that I did before Nashville as well. I worked on it in my hotel and on the plane because the letters were fairly easy to stitch. And that made for, you know, something that was easy to stitch and that I could just keep going at it. Then I have another finish. Let me see, let me just use this. This one was started before I started this, I think in January. This Bedelia Bunny by the Artsy Housewife. This is stitched with 1 strand of sulky. I did my own sulky conversion on 36 count Vintage Country Mocha by Zweigart, 1 strand. I changed a bit of the colors. You can better see it this way. The flowers didn't have that dark pink that I used. It was, I think it was like DMC 300, which is a brown that I'm not too fond of. So I figured I would use a complementary darker rose color for the flowers. And then I did use the brown in the eye, and I think in his little nose, there's also a few of the brown stitches. This was a lot of fun to stitch. The bunny do not, you know, it's a lot of white stitching. I used not white. Sulky has another color, 1071, which is like this tiny bit of off-white, which I thought was nicer for the bunny. I think the white would have been too stark. So I changed that and just kept on stitching. She's just beautiful. I think what I'll do is see if we still have a white square frame, because she's almost square. I think it's 1 or 2 stitches more on one side than the other, and get her frame because she's just darling and she deserves a nice place in our shop. And then my last project, which I started before I left for Nashville, and you'll understand why, is Byron Blackbird, also by The Artsy Housewife. Now, I chose this particular chart, A, because I just loved it, and B, because it got all that black stitching that I figured I could do on the plain. So I did a whole lot of the black stitching on the plain. I changed the color. Let me try this up. This may be better. I changed the color to a Fretworks 11213, which is like a black with, it's not a dark black, but it has like a little bit of gray in there, which I thought would be perfect for the crow. And I also changed the orange in the flowers. Again, Gigi used DMC 300. I'm not a fan of that color apparently. So I changed it to a more pumpkin color. I honestly don't know which one it is. I'll have to check it out. If you need to know, just you know, leave me a comment and I'll check it out. But basically what I did is I used the lighter color and then picked one that I thought would look good with it. And I also changed the color for the leaves. This was Whiskey by Weeks Dye Works, and I used Mossy by Weeks Dye Works. I wanted it to be a little bit more greener than the Whiskey would have given me. This is stitched on 36 count Edinburgh. I think it's just, it's Winter Moon. It's color number 99, and it's one strand over 2 fabric threads. So that's the last of my finished pieces. And I think we'll finish Byron as a little pillow. I just imagine him with a little pillow and maybe some chenille on the sides to make it look cute. Anyways, that's for another video. So then last week I had a couple days off. I took a couple days off from the shop. I had a couple days off from my other job. And so not yesterday, but the Sunday before, I was like, people are doing, you know, Mania, and I couldn't do 31 new starts in May. I mean, that would just be over the top. But I figured it's May, I can do something. So what I figured I'd do was I would start during the weekdays, from Monday through Friday, I would start one new project. And here's the reasoning behind it. Ever since I got back from Nashville, so Nashville was 2.5 months ago. Well, 2 months and a week, or however you want to say it. I have not started anything new. I hadn't started anything from Nashville Market, which is really unusual for me. But I guess I've learned my lesson for next year, not to start 4 new projects before I leave for Market, but maybe just 1 or 2. Because when I got back and I didn't stitch much, I figured I couldn't start something new. I had to finish something. And I just, you know, I didn't have a whole lot of stitching time. And I was like, I can't start anything new. But since I had this week off, I figured I can definitely start something new. So my idea was I will start something on Monday through Friday. Again, I think you get the picture by now. And then for the rest of May, on Mondays, I would work on the project that I had started on Monday until it was finished. On Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday, etc., I would do exactly the same thing. And that would mean that since I didn't pick very large projects except for one, I would probably be done with 5 finishes by the end of May. And then on the 2 weekends that are left, I will work 1 weekend on Evergreen and 1 weekend on American Homes, because during the weekend I get to spend a little more time stitching than I usually get through the week. So last week I started 5 new projects. And now you might think, why don't you show us these projects on a week? Well, because I figured I would need to have something to show you in a couple weeks. So I'll just wait until they're done. Maybe I'll show some sneak peeks on social media. So if you don't follow me on Facebook or Instagram, please do. I'll leave the links down below in the drop down box. And hopefully I can show you some finishes of those projects next time. Well, that was it for now. I hope you have a great week. I hope the weather here in the Netherlands will stay a little bit like this. It does mean that I need to water some of my plants outside, but it's just fun to be outside, not having to wear a jacket and just enjoying the good weather. I hope that my next video, my regular stitching video, will be up around the end of May, I think. I'm trying to get another one done by that time when I've got those projects finished. We have some new shop models that are coming back from the framer that I'd love to share with you. And who knows what my plans for June are. I haven't made any plans other than, you know, doing my block Evergreen and doing my half block of American Homes. But you never know, something might come up and I might start something else. Or I might be a very good girl and work on, you know, the bunch of whips that are still waiting in that big bag and that also deserves some time and some attention. We'll see. For now, I wish you a great week. I hope you get to stitch all the stitches that you'd like to do and that you don't have to frog anything. And maybe we'll see each other next time. Bye for now.